If you found a 1952 Bowman pack unopened, would you open it? There's a guy who's thinking about it. Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. So last Sunday in my weekly Clearing the Bases episode, I gave you the story, or at least part of the story, of the guy who found a 1952 Bowman pack sealed, wax pack sealed. And there's more details have come out. I'm going to go over those. But this isn't really an Attic Find Friday. First of all, it's Saturday. But also, there aren't a ton of details, and I'm much more interested in the fact that he's considering opening it. And I want you to tell me in comments, would you open it or would you not? And I'll give you all the details here. But so Jason West, he works in demolition in Massachusetts. I've actually reached out to him through his business. Haven't heard back yet. He found this, he says, more than 3 years ago while doing demolition in Chatham, Mass. And he said that they had torn up the staircase of this house, and there was garbage in this kind of recessed area where the staircase had covered before. And he looked in and he could just see a baseball bat. And he reached in, pulled it out. There was a picture of a baseball bat, of course. And it was a pack of 1952 Bowman. Now, he didn't know what it was. He wasn't a sports card collector. But he pulled it out, put it in his pocket, and then when he left that day, threw it on the dashboard of his car and forgot about it for a little while. And then when he pulled it out a few days later, I guess, he thought about opening it, but then, he said that he's a antique car, rare car collector, and car, C-A-R, not C-A-R-D, and knew that he should speak with experts before opening it. So he sent it to an auction house in New Jersey, unnamed auction house in New Jersey. They sent it to PSA, and this is all third hand. This comes from Jason, and he says that PSA was unable to determine which card was inside the pack, so they were unable to grade the pack. I don't think that's how it works. I might be mistaken. Let me know in comments. But they're only grading the pack, and if they don't know who's inside, they just grade the pack, right? I think. So I was a little surprised at that little detail. So PSA mailed it back to him. It sounds to me, and I'm purely speculating here, that PSA was unable to authenticate the pack. And again, let me know if I'm wrong on that. I'm happy to be wrong. And PSA being unable to authenticate does not mean that it's fake or counterfeit. PSA has 18 1952 Bowman packs in their pop report. None of them are 1 cent packs, and this one is a 1 cent pack. All 18 are 5 cent packs, and the 5 cent packs have 6 cards in them. The 1 cent packs have 1 card in them. So I have a hard time believing that they just did nothing with it because they couldn't figure out who was in the pack, unless that was what he asked them to do, which maybe certainly could be possible, that he said, hey, can you determine who's in this pack? If you can't, then send it back to me. Very possible. So he got the pack back, and then he forgot about it for a long time, and then he was showing a friend pretty recently, and that friend sent a picture to Card Vault US, which I think is the sports card shop in Patriot Place in Foxborough, Mass. And they posted a picture online that went viral within the sports card community of this pack. And so from there, it went a little crazy for Jason, of course. Quite a few articles are now up, and most of them are poor. They're clearly written by people who have never collected sports cards. I found one on Boston.com, the Boston Globe, that's pretty good. The one problem with this article, like all the others, is that they cite Eric Whiteback, the collectibles guru, as a sports card expert, I guess. I don't know that they call him that, but it's certainly, and they call him the collectibles guru in the articles. It makes it sound like he's an expert, or that they're portraying him as an expert. Eric Whiteback's tweets are entertaining. I follow him. I enjoy his tweets, but he's not an expert. He's kind of a generalist with the hobby. He does a lot of different collectibles. And yeah, I would not rely on him for any sort of expertise. And that's not a knock on Eric Whiteback, by the way. He's very good at what he does. It's just that he's not an expert. Whiteback says that a unopened pack recently sold for $14,400, but that neglects to mention that that was a 5-cent pack, and this is a 1-cent pack. So I don't know. I mean, would a 1-cent pack unopened sell for more because they're much, much rarer? Or would it sell for less because there are fewer cards inside? I don't know. I would guess it would be, I don't know. Let me know. That's another thing I want you to tell me. This video is much more about what you guys think. I've done so much research and couldn't come up with any answers on that. And I don't know any vintage pack experts that I could reach out to. So Jason West, the finder of this pack, is considering opening the pack. All of the articles talk about how he might open it. And I think that's a horrible idea. Really, opening a pack most of the time is a bad idea, in my opinion. So obviously you'd be looking for a Mickey Mantle or a Willie Mays. You have to hope to get a decent grade out of it for it to be worth your while. First of all, there's 252 cards in this set, and assuming that they were all produced at the same with the same odds, which is unlikely just due to, I think there were 7 series in 1952 Bowman, and the later series might have been produced last, but let's just assume 252 cards. You have a 1 in 252 chance of pulling a Mantle, a 1 in 252 chance of pulling a Maze. So the last Mantle in a 9 sold about 2 years ago for a little over $500,000. But you have to really hope that it's going to come out of that pack mint. That's a 9, which centering issues. It's been under stairs all this time. It's probably been mishandled by people that Jason is showing it to. I have a hard time seeing it grade a 9. There are 15 in the pop report, PSA pop report 9s. There are 2 10s. The last 10 sold 22 years ago for $43,000. I'd be curious to know what that goes for now, well into the millions. There are 0 10s on the Willie Mays 1952 Bowman. The last 9 sold also 2 years ago for just shy of $500,000. That's a pop 6 in PSA. Another thing to consider is that you're in a 1-cent pack, you're virtually guaranteed to have a gum stain on that one card that's in there. Now, you could probably get it out using some sort of solvent. I don't know how you would do that, but I know you can. But that's a risk too. So there's just so many risks with opening a 1-cent pack or a 1-card pack, and really any pack. Jason says that if it is a common card, he says if it's worth $100, he's just going to frame it and laugh about it or something like that. So at least he'd have a good sense of humor about it. He says that he wants to have the pack evaluated by an expert in person. So I don't know if, again, going back to that PSA evaluation, if he's going to bring it to an expert and have them look at it in person. I don't know what he means by evaluated. Again, I reached out to Jason, haven't heard back. Just the wrapper of the 1952 Bowman sells for hundreds of dollars. There's only one recently on eBay in the last however many days eBay recent sales go back, 90 days maybe. And it was in very, very poor condition. It sold for $50. So you've got some in really nice condition that have buy it now prices around $500. So you could probably get several $100s for a nice pack, just the wrapper itself. In 2022, Vintage Breaks sold 5 spots in a 5-cent break of the 1952 Bowman, I believe at $6,000 per spot. So they made $30,000 off their pack. Didn't find any big cards, as far as I can tell. Their recap of it cites, we didn't pull the Mantle or the Maze, but the cards that we did pull should grade high. And they didn't mention any big cards, so I just didn't want to watch the video. So remember, that's 6 cards. They sold 5 of the spots, so I assume they kept 1 of the spots for themselves. So that's that story, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Would you open this pack? And if you know any more about this, any other expertise with vintage baseball card packs, I would be interested to hear. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to have another Attic Find Friday for you next week. Still gathering some Attic Find Friday details. All right, have a great weekend.